Welcome to the Planning Board meeting of Monday, February 24th, 2025. This meeting is being recorded by MCTV. With us tonight, we have Fred Monaco, Nick Papastratis, and myself, Katie O'Donnell. Kevin's not here yet, right? I'm not missing him on the list here.
Nope, he's not here yet.
Okay. Absent are Mike Viviano, chair, and Kevin Cantwell. And
mute this.
Let's see here. So with that, sorry, my agenda closed out on me again. Wonderfully. Yeah.
So minutes of 127:25.
Okay.
After you open the meeting, sorry.
All right, so I'll make a motion to open tonight's meeting. Is there a second?
Second, Fred Monaco.
Okay, roll call vote. Fred?
Fred, aye.
Nick?
Nick Papastratis, aye.
Katie O'Donnell, aye. All right, so with that, for tonight's meeting, we've got a public hearing coming up at 7:05, but the first action item is approval of the minutes of January 27th, 2025. I'll make a motion that we approve those minutes. Is there a second?
Second, Fred Monaco.
All right, roll call vote. Fred?
Fred, aye.
Nick?
Nick Papastratis, aye.
Katie O'Donnell, aye. You might have to say your last name, Fred. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay. All right, so with that, that passes. And next up, we have the reduction of surety for John Sherman Estates. Fred, sorry, Greg.
Mr. Driscoll is here as well. Paul had requested a reduction. Actually, he had asked for all 45,000 back remaining. And I had explained to him that the planning board is allowed to up to 2 years, but we're not thinking we're going to have to go that long. Up to 2 years, $10,000 to be held to make sure plants, trees, other things that have been put in place are working and functioning, and we don't have any structural defects or anything. So my recommendation to the planning board was to reduce it from 45,000 to $10,000. So he would be getting 35,000 back.
Okay. With the plantings and everything, the holding the 10,000 until that's completed makes sense to me. But is there any board discussion?
No, I agree with. I agree with.
I agree.
I'd like to be heard. Paul
Sure.
Driscoll. So thank you. Good evening. I have paid many times at Greg's request for Pat Brennan's inspections, and I think Greg will tell you that he hasn't had any problem getting me to pay. So when he's told me that there's money due to Pat Brennan, I have delivered it, usually within a week. All the items, Pat Brennan has concluded that all the items on the list have been completed. My concern is the end of the holding period. I would have to go back and determine when plants were planted, when trees were planted. I will tell you anecdotally that I did the rain garden twice, that the first time cost about $20,000 and it didn't take, and I did it again without complaint. What I would suggest is that the money that's held be held for a certain period of time to be determined now, whether you want to hold it for 60 or 90 days. And then if in fact in that period it's determined that there's no work needed to be done or to be repaired, that it be released. Otherwise, I just see the thing being interminate and just go on and on and on into the future without any finite end date. So that would be my request.
We do have a finite date for withholding the money, and that's 2 years. I was not going to go that far. I'm quite comfortable if the board wants to say within 1 year.
But 1 year from when, Greg? I mean, the plants.
From the vote of this release of the surety.
I understand, but if the plants are planted a year and a half ago, which is probably the time that they were, and all the trees and everything, essentially you're holding the money for 4 growing seasons, 6 growing seasons, which I don't think is the ordinary course.
Well, you've already admitted that the plantings in the rain garden did not take, and it cost you $20,000 to replace it.
That's right.
We had a resident who in the fall said that they felt that the plantings were dead. So 1 year would give us plenty of time to make sure that the
first time or second time. I haven't received any complaints about the second time, and Kevin Sealands looked at it. I think Pat's looked at it. I haven't heard any complaints of any structural deficiencies in the rain garden or anything else. It's worked quite well. I think the first time was that the elevation of the soil and the materials in the plant garden was not high enough to pitch the water towards the outlet drain, and therefore it congregated, it stayed, and it drowned the plants. But all of that has been fixed, so I'm not aware of any problem. But you can see my situation that hold the $10,000, but if we could just have a finite date, and whatever the finite date is, rather than just holding it for a year or two, if there can be some provision whereby you inspect it some number of months out within the year to see if everything's fine. I'm just looking for an end of it, that's all. An end to it.
I think we'd like an end to it as well. I'm just, it's been a particularly rough past few months, and I think we want to make sure that everything is established and going. So I feel like there is already a date, with the 2-year limit on the surety, how long surety can be held for. I think typically, when we see that everything is established and going. What do you think, Greg? I mean, I'm fine with a year from now. I don't know if there's a possibility of like what the timing is of any earlier than then. I think that's possible to come in and say everything is complete and you can see that it's working right now.
Well, we'd want to definitely wait until past this upcoming fall. So we would want to wait until at least that to make sure all the plantings and stuff are fine. So I don't know if you want to make it November 20th or November 30th or something like that, if you'd want.
What do you think? I don't know.
I think that's tricky, not knowing like our meeting schedule and stuff, just to give like a random date. And I think that to release the surety, it shouldn't just be based on a date. I think that we need that report that everything is completed. So I don't know that the need for setting a date. I feel like we already do have a date.
May I make a suggestion? What if you had Pat Brennan do an inspection in November and report back to the planning board? And if the inspection is that things have to be done, then obviously that affects what you do. But if the inspection then is that everything's done, then I think that if I get the money by the end of November, that would provide everybody with adequate opportunity to make sure it's all being accomplished.
All right.
I like that idea. That's reason. I think it's reasonable. What do you
All right. I'm just thinking about the wording of it.
Okay.
Katie, would we tie it to second meeting in November or first meeting in December or something?
November 17th is the second meeting in November.
I think, the fall can be busy and everything. I'm thinking that, so we can make a motion to reduce the surety from 45,000 to 10,000, with the remaining 10,000 to be released upon a satisfactory inspection in November 2025.
Okay,
All right, I like
Does
that.
that work?
Yeah, that works for me. Nick?
Sounds
All
good.
right. All right. So do I have a second for that?
Fred Monaco, I second it.
All right. And roll call vote, Fred,
Fred Monaco, I.
Nick,
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Katie O'Donnell, aye. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so we're past
All right.
7:05, so we have our public hearing, continued public hearing.
Okay. So with that, I'll make a motion to open, or do I
Yeah,
have to
open the continued
to
public
open the
hearing.
continued public hearing for the street improvement plan for Lynn Street? Is there a second?
Second, Fred Monaco.
Roll call vote, Fred,
Fred Monaco, I.
Nick sorry, Nick,
Nick Papastratus, aye. Thanks,
Katie
Katie.
O'Donnell, aye.
Okay, we're open.
I'll just vote for you. Sorry. All right. And then, so with that, is Dana here to
Dana's
give us an
here.
update?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can.
Excellent. Wow, technology. Okay, thanks for having me back. So a couple of weeks ago, we had our meeting and there were several comments or concerns at that meeting. I believe to enumerate them, there were 8 of them. So Greg, do you have the plan handy?
I'm working on it right now. I got it.
Okay, well, all right. Of course, I should have it handy, but I haven't even displayed my screen in the past or anything. Okay, so there it is. So I worked on that plan and made, I believe, 8 changes on that plan as a result of the last meeting and the comments therefrom. And in the lower right, it shows a list. To the right, I think it's above proposed street improvement plan.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. And there's a little list above the word proposed. I believe that's it. Yeah, 123. Yeah, so yeah, right there. So those are the 8 changes that I made on the plan. One of which is I revised the discharge pipe from CB number 5. I added filter fabric. Is that the right? It seems like it was before that. January 22nd. Okay. Yep. So that's it. So I added filter fabric in and around the galley system. Added a surveyor's certification. That seems like is that the right one?
this is the most recent one I have, Dana.
There's one date at February 10th.
February 10th. Yeah. That seems like it's because our meeting was 2 weeks ago, so that was February 9th, I believe.
10th.
All right, so I made
So it doesn't have the chambers are moved and the driveways moved.
right. So this isn't the latest plan that we're looking at. I don't know if I can figure it. Did I send you the wrong one over email or something? I could call it up and try to share my screen. I've never done that.
210 is the most recent I have, Dana.
210? Yeah,
Electronically. Hold on.
right.
That's another. There's going to be another email.
Thanks for taking the time with that.
Greg, I just emailed you one that's the name of it is revised to 2025.
That sounds more like it.
Hasn't come in yet. I had found a Dana, but I had switched back to current.
That's all right, yeah. So what I did is I addressed the, I believe there was 8 items and I addressed
Oh, here it comes.
all of those.
Wow. Share, where's the share? Share. Screen.
Yes, so that's it, yeah. So there should be a list of revisions on that somewhere right in that area. To the right, I think.
We're talking about. It's a new one with 8 changes on it.
Right, there we go, right there, right there. Right above street. Yeah, so
Everybody can see those?
yep, so I added a see where it says 21025, added a PE stamp. I added a hydrant at the end of Lynn Street as a result of the water department saying they would like a hydrant at the end of this of the Lynn Street improvement, and that they would supply the materials for that. I also added a note to check and clean the existing drainage structures, which I think we can talk about a little bit more. I added a gravel transition at the at Lawrence Street because one of the neighbors that were right there, I failed to add that. I did it on the other extensions of the pavement, like at the end of Lynn Street and a couple others, but I missed the one at Lawrence Street, so I added that on. Added a driveway on the subject lot for emergency turnaround, that I believe that will work in conjunction with the driveway across the street. That's the best I'm going to do, I think, as far as any kind of hammerhead turnaround, because the right of way is only 40 feet wide. Number 6, I amended and relocated the galley drainage system in Lynn Street because it was too close to the septic system on the subject lot. So I moved it to the middle of the street, and I added some geofabric over that, which is all under the pavement. So I make the minimum distance of 25 feet between the drainage system in Lynn Street and the proposed septic system on the subject lot. And then I also added a note to maintain traffic flow, at least 1 lane in width during construction. That was also a comment from the neighbors. Okay, so yes, here we are at the end of Lynn Street. And I showed the septic system. I showed the 25 feet between the proposed septic system and the proposed drainage at the end of Lynn Street improvement. So that we have our 25 feet there. And then I also added the driveway, of course, which more or less lines up with, it doesn't exactly line up, but I can move it over a little bit in order to line up better with the driveway across the street, where it says berm right there. Yeah, yep. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I don't have to move it really. It's paved driveway right there, right? So that creates a bit of a hammerhead for any emergency vehicles. So I believe
Got a lot of things on this.
I know.
Every time I put my hand someplace, it starts making little boxes.
I know. Well, the thing of it is, I got the program from the surveyor. He did all the survey, and his program is a little different than mine. He has AutoCAD, I have TurboCAD, so I have trouble translating between the two sometimes and turning off layers and turning on layers. But I did get your notes about, can you darken this up and can you get rid of the yellow and some things like that. And I'm having trouble technically doing that between the interface between my program and his program. But I can also get you hard copies as well, and that'll be a little bit easier to see. The other thing is when I go to print it out, a lot of these lines have line weights on them, but you can't see it on the computer version. You can see it on the paper version. So I apologize if it's a little difficult to follow. But it seemed like it was followed last time around. So hopefully everyone can kind of remember the last meeting. And those are I guess there were 7 changes that I made on the plan, not 8. All right.
Okay. It does seem more colorful than the last meeting. Still, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm like
I don't know.
squinting into my screen here.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
So I'm gonna just hold on, Dana.
Go
I
ahead. Yeah.
wanna go to, can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can see that.
So here's Ferry Street on the right. Go up Waltham. You pass California Street, which is where the drainage, you have some of your drainage going, Dana.
Yeah.
The road work starts right before the intersection of Waltham and Essex. It goes down past Lawrence, takes a right, goes down Lynn to approximately the site. That's the end of the road work, although you do have some galley work going on beyond to the south of your site.
Right.
This is the view from Lynn Street, looking up the road towards Essex. 26 Lynn Street's to your left. The lot is to your right. This is looking south towards 39 Lynn Street. This is looking east right at the site. This is looking west from the intersection of Lynn Street and Essex Ave. This is looking east from the intersection of Lynn Street and Essex Ave. Note the fire hydrant and the telephone pole locations, as well as we have some rocks here, the stone wall, the fence and stuff. This is looking from the intersection of Lawrence and Essex, west again. You can see that fire hydrant in the distance here. Here's that stone wall and fence. This is Lawrence Street going down here, and you can see the next property has a fence right up against into the right of way. And then this is looking east from the intersection of Lawrence Road and Essex Ave down towards Waltham. So that's, do we want your plan back up, Dana, or are you okay?
I think I'm okay.
All right.
Thank you. So all the grades, like I said last time, all the grades and such and the road alignment and all that is pretty much going to stay almost just like it is now. Everything's going to be within probably a few inches or certainly a foot anyway. So there's no big slopes on the sides down or up or anything like that.
Oh, actually, one of the things, Dana, I'm going to go back to the share for 1 second. There we go. This triangle piece right here in between Waltham and Essex is the area. So I got a phone call this afternoon from Charlie Swanson from DPW, and they are very concerned with the drainage on California and Waltham Street. So they would like Dana to spend more time and work out a solution with them. This piece is town-owned land, but it is not conservation land. The lots to the left of that are town conservation land. I believe, Dana, what they're talking about is putting in a detention basin in that triangle, taking the water off, having it go into that basin first, with then an overflow back into that street drainage for Waltham and California Street. But
wow,
that's something that you would gonna need to work with them on. And that lot is G12-1006.
Right. Okay. I did look into the design of the I saw the as-built from that intersection that you're talking about that he's concerned about. between California and Waltham. And I think I forwarded that to you.
Yep.
And there are not, I also talked with Bob Clancy, who built all of that. And I asked him, do you have leaching catch basins in that intersection? And there was some talk of, I think there's leaching catch basins in that intersection. And he said, no, they're not leaching catch basins in that intersection. And he said, and it shows on the as-built, he goes, I think there's 4 catch basins in that intersection. They all go into an 18-inch RCP. They then go, I guess it's east towards Ferry, and then it transitioned it into a 24-inch to go across Ferry. Now, what he told me is that he did not do the 24-inch. I think the town did the 24-inch, and he simply improved the intersection and the portion of Waltham and did the 18-inch and just simply plugged into the 24-inch. And from what he was saying, this is about 20 years ago from his recollection. And he said what the deal was the town was supposed to clean those catch basins and go from there. And he said, to his knowledge, that nothing's ever been cleaned, and that's why they're having problems there. He said it's all been designed to take all that watershed, which is inclusive of my watershed, through that 18-inch and through that 24-inch pipe. So if the 18-inch and the 24-inch have been designed inclusive of my watershed, I think what the real problem is, and again, I can work this out with Charlie and DPW, is the things need to be cleaned. And in fact, I did pop one of the covers down there, and the pipe is half full of dirt. So I think what's really happening is the portion up Essex that is dirt now, the rain comes barreling down Essex now, carries the dirt with it, fills up all the catch basins and maybe some of the pipe too, I don't know. And that's why it's having problems at that intersection with the drainage. In the meantime, when I pave, at least from that intersection more or less up to Lynn Street, it's gonna clean the water first before it goes down there. In other words, there's two or three sets of catch basins that are gonna have sumps in them to catch any dirt from uphill west of Lynn Street, that it's going to clean that water before it even gets down there. So I think what the real thing is that all that 24-inch pipe down by Ferry Street has been designed to take all of that water and all of that watershed. It's just that it's not getting in there because it's filled with dirt. And hopefully when I do this paving, that'll reduce a large amount of the dirt that goes in there. I mean, that's the point of the catch basin sumps anyway, of course. So I'll talk to Charlie, but I really think that that needs to be cleaned at that intersection. And again, from what Bob Clancy said, he goes, well, the town was supposed to do that after we were done. They're supposed to maintain it and clean it, and they've never done it. So but I don't know what's up with that part of it. I wasn't obviously there, or I don't know the deal, or I'm just going off of what he said. But it does seem to stand to reason to me that it's filled with dirt, and that's the problem. Especially when
can I say something?
cover and look at it.
Hold on just a moment.
Yeah.
We'll have more opportunities for public comment in just a second.
Okay, thank you.
Pat, did I see that you were on here? Do you have any?
I am here. Yeah, I got that plan, that as-built plan that Greg was just showing, that Dana was talking about. And what it shows is those 4 catch basins at California and Waltham. It looks like they have leaching, and I believe, because I think I looked at this back in 2007, whatever it was. They have leaching trenches off of those catch basins, and then once the leaching trenches fill up, then it goes into that drainage system that goes down and across from Ferry Street. So those leaching trenches are the heavy dark black lines that you see coming off of each of those catch basins. And I tend to agree with Dana that by paving Essex Street, you're going to reduce the sediment load getting into those catch basins. There will still be some sediment because the hill keeps on going up Essex Street west of Lynn Street, but you will reduce it to a point. I'm not sure about the design of the entire system in Waltham Avenue, but it is, as he said, according to that as-built, it shows an 18-inch going to a 24-inch actually right at California Street, right from that manhole there, it turns to 24-inch. The other, my other comments on the whole project had been addressed previously. Obviously, Greg had some comments that he sent to Dana the other day about kind of cleaning up the plan, which I guess he's going to try to do. But I really didn't have any other comments on it, and I haven't talked with Charlie or anybody at DPW about it myself.
Okay. Thank you. Greg, is there anything else before we go to?
Nope, I think you can go to comments and questions from the board and the public.
All right. I mean, and do other board members have anything? I feel like we need to get the plans cleaned up and continue talking with DPW and find something that works out with them. Do board members agree or have any other concerns?
Oh yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
I would agree, Katie. We got to, we got a lot more to clean up before we can end this.
Yeah,
I think it would be good to get confirmation of if there is a maintenance schedule tied to those that existing condition, and if there is, and it's still getting, filled up, then that's obviously a problem that I'm sure Dana doesn't want to inherit with this project either. So,
yeah, agreed. Okay, so with that, I'll open it up to some public comment, and actually, I don't have a great gallery view here. But who had asked to speak earlier? If people want to raise their hands using Zoom or.
Kathy McDonough, 7 Essex Ave.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention I don't know everything, of course, that's gone on with, the DPW and the town, but the neighbors were told when those houses were built and the Clancy's put in that drainage system, that he was going to put it in and connect it to a system that would go under Ferry Street that the town would take care of, and it would drain into underneath the bridle trail and into
Peter Armstrong's
property, or property that the town owned behind the bridle trail. And we were told that was never done because the town didn't have the money to continue the drainage system. So as far as we know, the Clancy's were responsible for a number of years for cleaning that out. And then it turned over to the town's responsibility to clean those out. And the town does come up. I can't say that it's on any that schedule, or I can't tell you how many times they've been here. The town has been here cleaning those out. I would say that if they're full now, they need to come up again. It's not regular is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So the dirt obviously comes from Essex, but it also comes from Waltham because and Dedham, because you got two other hills there that aren't paved where the dirt is rushing down the same as it does on Essex. So just paving Essex is not going to solve that problem.
And may I continue? I'm Bob McDonough from 7 Essex Ave.
Mm-hmm.
That pipe has been clogged for a long, long, long time. The vacuum truck that you sent here, I spent 40 years working in the ground as a laborer. Okay, that vacuum truck that they sent up here it doesn't have the qualifications to suck that out. You need to bag it from one end and suck it all the way through. It's the only way you're going to get the dirt out of the pipe. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the water that comes down here, see, none of you people live up here, so you have no clue of where the water actually comes from. Okay? When you go up past Lynn to Utah, and you stand at one end of Utah and look at the other end, there's a 6-inch difference in the grade there. Okay? You take a left on Waltham at the other end of Utah, you have to follow that all the way up past the Comcast station to the fire road up there that's got a 6-foot deep gash from the water coming down from that point up there is one of the highest points in Marshfield, and the water just rips. And when it hits that intersection at Utah and Waltham Ave, it comes flying down Utah. People may think Utah is flat as a drum. It comes flying down there and it makes the right. More water comes off of Utah Street than it does from the Utah to Norwich Street end. So
Yeah.
if you want to send the town engineer up here in the DPW form, and I'll show them what the problem is. You're not going to fix it. Whatever Dana's going to do out here, you're going to have the same problem at the Lynn intersection as you're going to have at the California intersection. It's always going to get impacted.
Yeah, I think that that's what, like what we're talking about here. This has certainly been a very challenging neighborhood and with the drainage for a long time. And I agree, we need to figure out the situation that's on the ground now. Dana's project can't and shouldn't fix all of it if they're pre-existing things. But we want to make sure that whatever happens isn't compounding any issues and hopefully improving things there. That's why we have the street improvement plans in place.
Who was the old DPW foreman? I believe his first name was Tom.
Oh, yeah, Tom Reynolds.
Tom Reynolds. Okay.
Yeah.
He came up here before, and he's the guy who told us that the structures to go across Ferry Street, under Ferry Street, was sitting down in the DPW, in the back of the DPW yard, because they didn't have the funds to put them in. So that's where that came from. I know Tom's been gone for a while, but that's where that came from. I don't think it's been done. You can go down there right now or come out tomorrow morning when it's sunlight out, and you can see that there's been no trench saw cut across Ferry Street to put in any sort of drainage to that situation. And it's been like that for years.
Yeah.
If you're trying to fix something, you got to fix it right. You got to go up into the woods. You got to figure out what's happening up in the woods. Let me put it to you this way. If there was a fire up there, you'd never even get the brush truck even near it. That's how deep that trench is.
I walk those trails. I'm up there pretty regularly. I'm very familiar with them. And so we'll have to touch base. You can continue touching base with DPW about this. Are there any?
Yeah, I got some more stuff to go there. This proposal about taking the property in front of my house. Last week I heard the figure of 9 feet because my fence and my stone wall. My septic system is right there. And I just put that septic system in 4 years ago that the town of Marshfield signed off on.
It's like
So
2 feet off the road.
If him approaching my driveway and coming across that land, he's going to interfere with my septic system.
Not just a fence.
Not just the fence.
Well, I positioned the pavement in the center of the right of way. It's a 40-foot right of way.
Yeah.
And everything's been surveyed.
I don't know about the rules and the regulations and the laws, but this neighborhood, and this neighborhood, nothing is where it's supposed to be. I'm already a non-conforming lot, and you're gonna send me 10 more feet into a non-conforming lot. My house will be 20 feet off the road.
And then what happens when I want to go to sell?
I think that depends on the surveyed plan of the property as well. Like, are these structures on your property or are they in the right of way?
They've been here for 30 plus years before we even moved in. The fence was here. So somebody gave the okay for a fence to be put up. 30, I don't know who put it up. It was either the Frasers or the Kents before them.
Katie, we have the building commissioner here. I think he could explain about permitting for fences.
Okay. Andrew, are you here?
Yeah, I am. What was that? I wasn't really, this wasn't what I was here for, so I kind of admit I wasn't paying attention. I heard something about fences.
All right, so we have some folks, we're talking about fences that are within the right of way of the road, and they're wondering how it was permitted in the past.
We didn't
Yeah.
put it up.
Fences have been kind of tough over the years. My predecessors basically did not require permits for fences unless they were triggered, the height was triggered under the building code, which is 7 feet or higher. That's the only time anybody's ever required a permit for a fence. And that's kind of why a lot of stuff like that has kind of happened over the years where things get placed. So a lot of the times when if there is a fence or something into the right of way and somebody files a request for enforcement, I'll go over there as long as it meets the requirements of, you know, when a fence is within a certain, or, you know, feet of the lot line and it doesn't exceed that 3 feet in height, especially on a corner, and it doesn't restrict visibility. Usually that'll be okay, and I'll write them a letter saying, you know, the fence can remain as is because it meets all these height requirements, and it doesn't obstruct visibility. But just know that the town reserves the right to order you to remove this fence at any time in the future, as it is located in the town-owned right of way. So I make them aware that at any point, the select board or whoever, you know, the DPW could order them to remove the fence if they had to access something in the right of way.
Andrew, it's about 12 to 15 feet into the right of way, the fence.
You're gonna take 12 to 15 feet of my property.
It's
the right
not,
of way, it's not your property, it's in the right of way.
What about,
Bob, you had made a comment about the septic system.
Yeah,
I went downstairs and went to the Board of Health, and it does not show your septic system. Do you consider your front yard Essex Street?
yeah.
Yep. It shows it behind the house, the septic system.
It's not behind the house. Why don't everybody come here tomorrow? Just come on up.
So the plans on file with the Board of Health shows your septic system in the backyard. But
you
that's
replace
older
the
plans. So if you have newer plans, if you
I
could
believe-
provide that, that would be helpful.
Hold on a second. Dana Jr., you
Yeah.
put the old septic system in this house. Where was the one that you replaced when you put the old septic system in that your father signed off on?
I think we're getting a little beyond
Did I do your
things here.
septic system?
What the point I'm trying to say is my septic system that was signed off by the town of Marshfield. When you stand in front of my house, there's a rock that says 7 Essex on it. My septic system is right there. It's not behind my house.
be a genie?
Okay. I think just before we go too much further, I just think we're getting more into a different issue than the like, it's related to the Lynn Street improvement, but it's not what we're having the public hearing for right now. And I think it sounds like we need, if your septic is not where the Board of Health, like where the plans that Greg found are, then I think that this is something that we need to look into and have on hand for the next meeting. But right now we're just kind of talking without plans or anything in front of us for that. And I'm just not sure how productive this conversation will be, because we're not going to be able to answer anything without that in front of us.
I have all the drawings from when Riverhawk Environmental put it in. Greg, if you want me to stop by tomorrow,
Yes,
I
if you
can
could
show
give
you
us,
that.
I'll make copies. Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I believe years ago before, I believe the old septic system used to be out behind the house, but I don't know.
It was replaced before we bought the house
Yeah.
in 1997. And then we did work on the leaching portion of it in 2020, and Biagini did the work. And we had the town signed off on where it was put.
So when you look at the air photos back in 2020, there was some work done on your side yard along Lynn Street.
The leaching fields. No, not along Lynn Street,
No.
on the California Street side.
Okay, that's not what the air photo showed, but okay. Anyway, if you bring in the.
I'll come by tomorrow, Greg. Greg,
Yeah,
I'll come
that'd
by
be very
tomorrow and
helpful
put
to
that
get
by
the
for
thing.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Yep.
So,
Okay. So we've got a few more things to continue researching and looking into. Do we have any other comments from the public? Anyone else who's here for this hearing?
I don't see anybody,
Okay.
Katie.
All right. Well, I think we've got plenty of things to look at. I think we should continue. Do we have a date to continue to?
I
March
just-
10th is bad. We got a lot of things on March 10th, so we're gonna have to put it back to March 24th.
one
Okay.
question, Greg?
Yep.
All the new paperwork that Dana was showing today, is that available at your office?
We have a printed copy of the new plans, yes.
Okay, super.
And I
Yeah,
can-
I'll be in the morning
Yeah,
sometime.
Okay,
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate all your help and thank you for your service.
Thank you. All right. So with that, I'll make a motion that we continue the Lynn Street improvement hearing to March 24th, 2025 at 7:05.
I'll second the motion.
PM.
Fred Monaco.
Okay. Roll call vote. Fred,
Fred Monaco, aye.
Nick,
Nick Papastratus, aye.
Katie O'Donnell, aye. Okay. So that passes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you all.
Okay. I'll be in touch, Greg. Thank you.
Right, and then next on our agenda, we have the discussion on the protected accessory dwelling units bylaw to special town meeting.
Yep. So staff, which was Andrew, a number of people on the staff with Mike Maresco, Lynn and stuff, had a meeting a couple of weeks ago on the ADUs. I had taken Andrew's copy, which he had modified the original one that we had worked on for last town meeting. And I took out the special permit sections and just covered what is required to be addressed for the protected accessory dwelling unit. There's some discussion about larger ADUs and how to do it. There's some discussion about additional ADUs, meaning more than one or two on a lot, which I think that should be a special permit, which Andrew had under the special permit section. I separated that out, and to me, that would be a separate article for a town meeting to vote on versus what the protected ADU is. Bob Galvin did review this. Bob Galvin actually gave me some changes, which I incorporated. So that's the version that's prepared. We have advertised it because we were running out of time for advertising for the March 10th public hearing. So that's where we are at the moment. And on the planning side, we basically told Andrew and other people that wanted to do the additional things with ADUs that we're willing to meet with them and discuss those and possibly have an agreed on language for next town meeting.
All right. And so we're looking to take a vote on this tonight.
To see if the board wants to submit it to the select board on the special town meeting for this April.
All right.
Did
Any
we lose
board
Fred?
members?
We lost Fred.
Oh, no. If we don't have Fred, we don't have enough
You
people.
don't.
And he's
Right.
doing so well lately.
Sorry, I hope you guys can't hear my dog making sad sounds about this. Do you think he'll make it back?
He has been known to wander back in. I'm gonna try to get a hold of him.
Okay.
Because the
Let's hang
warrant
tight.
closes on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had to take a call from his mother's nursing home. So hold on. Let's see if he's gonna be back.
Okay.
We just
I'm glad you
needed
guys were
one
watching. I
more
wouldn't have
minute.
noticed.
We just need one more minute.
I know. We need like some elevator music or something.
He said he'll be back ASAP. Looks like he's in his car. His reply just said, okay, sent on his Altima.
So if it needs to be submitted by Friday, if he didn't get on, we need
We
to have
wait
another
till-
meeting.
We would wait till next time town meeting. Because the warrant
Okay.
would be closed.
Was Fred at the library?
That's what I'm wondering. because it would have closed.
Yeah. And apparently he didn't count, there were only 3 members.
Why don't we give it till 8 o'clock?
All right, I was about to.
I sent a text out to Kevin to see if he was available. I know he was in a meeting, so I didn't hear back from him. How do we close without a third member?
It's a great question because
I think it just ends on its own. It just combusts.
yeah,
Never had this happen before.
no, like
not-
really, we can't talk
You-
about
you have to
anything.
end-
We can't
You would
vote
have to
about
end the meeting
anything.
because you lack quorum.
Yeah.
You-
Fred
you-
has done this before. We had to just abruptly end before.
Guess I blacked that out.
Yeah, because it was the same kind of thing. Greg wasn't on it, but yeah, we had to just, I guess it's over.
Yeah.
You can't even take a vote to take an intermission or anything because you don't have
No.
enough to vote.
Oh.
He's not getting back on, is he?
I don't know. It'll be 8 o'clock in like 37, 8 o'clock now. So
Staff can't put it on the warrant?
no, I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. We wouldn't want to try to have,
Well, if
I don't even know how to discuss this, but we wouldn't want to try to do just like a Zoom just to get a quorum to do something.
we needed to do it in 2 days, we'd need,
Yeah.
so could probably do it Thursday.
I could definitely be available, so let me know.
Okay. We'll set it up for Thursday then.
I mean, I guess you can check in with the rest of the board and see if they can do it, but if people want to, but
Okay.
just an
I will-
option. It's a weird situation. I'm not sure.
I'll send an email to the board, see what they want to do.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Well, thanks all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Right.
Night.